Alright. Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to be going over the Navy. Now, I've seen a few videos. Quite a few videos on the Navy. And some have recently come out that are, well, I'll just say it. Feedback Gaming. I'm sorry, but your last video on the Navy was, your conclusions were not, justified by the evidence shown even in your own video. So, first let me show you something that you might not have known. You can see the damage numbers as the battle is going on right here. Look, Kongo, Hiroshima, and Haruna. They're all there. Mutsu, Nagato, Hyuga, Ise, Yamashiro, Fuso, and then you've got all these heavy cruisers. Of course, you're not going to be able to see all of the light cruisers or even all of the destroyers. Well, I guess you can see all the light cruisers here. But, back to the point, Feedback Gaming has somehow determined that heavy attack is king. Now, hopefully I'll prove that wrong here. I've done this test a few times in the past. There have been a few updates here and there, but in the past, the Japanese fleet has won, even though the American fleet has way more battleships, way more heavy cruisers. 15, 16, 20, 16, 22, 25 versus 30 of each. The Japanese fleet also has more carriers. And the American fleet has actually fewer screens. But let's let this battle go forwards, and let's watch it at one speed as it unfolds. So let me, before we go into this, both nations have base strike at 1. Neither nations have any sort of buffs. The US has tag USA. Neither of them have commanders. The US over here has this. XP, which I suppose I should get rid of. Let's see. Bad weather penalty. That will do absolutely nothing because I got weather turned off. Tag Jap. But I suppose just in case, I will also... Wait. Oh shoot. Did I didn't turn AI off, did I? XP. XP. There we go. Just in case, let's do that, so that they both have equal bonuses. Then... yeah, AI off. That shouldn't have fucked up their fleets. Hopefully, tag USA. Alright, there we go. Now we can watch it. So, let's look at this. About a day into the battle, some things have received hits. Okay, so Naval bombers have damaged the carriers on either side. Heavy guns are starting to go at them. And now we're starting to see the United States fleet sinking. Now, why is that? Well, look at the torpedoes. Torpedo damage 25. Torpedo damage 25. The Japanese fleet has more torpedoes at this point because they haven't gone through any refits or anything like that. And of course, the American fleet has better screening. Now, if you look over here, that's been torpedoed. Lots of damage by light guns. Light guns, torpedoes. So torpedoes actually do most of the work. People generally get this wrong. They think that torpedoes are only for the capital ships, like they will only hit the capital ships, but that's absolutely wrong. The screens are there to take the torpedo hits. So as we can see, it's fairly even so far. We've got lots of torpedo damage, some light gun damage. And it continues to be fairly even. But the Japanese fleet at the start of the game, as long as you take the these out, the Japanese fleet, the subs out is what I mean by these. As long as you take the subs out, they'll be good. But as you can see, we're starting to rack up more destroyer kills on the US side. And it looks like light guns for torpedoes. Torpedoes and light guns. Critical hit. Sunk by USS Colorado. Oh, the secondary guns, okay. Mississippi, Hubert, Gregory, Detroit, Arizona, Gills, Bulmer, Alba, Asagiri, Kikuzuki, Ashigara, Nadakazi, Oi, Amagiri, okay. So as you can see, most of the damage is actually being done by the torpedoes. Torpedoes are king, at least in this meta, in this current version of the game. Now, the other thing that we're seeing is that the light gun damage is measurable. It's not to be snuffed at. You can see that a lot of these ships have been getting damage by light guns. Now, admittedly, both of these fleets don't have that many light guns, so of course you're not going to be seeing as much as if it were a player-led fleet. A player-made fleet. So, let's see. Torpedoes, yeah, most of the damage is being done by torpedoes. Now, the positioning of the American fleet is down. Why is it down? Do the Americans have more ships now? The Americans started off with less ships, I'm pretty sure. And over here, you can see that the damage being done by the heavy guns is substantial. You see what's happening is the torpedoes from these two rows and then the torpedo bombers from this row are hitting. Well, the torpedoes from this row and this row are hitting the screens. The heavy guns and the torpedo bombers are torpedoing these ships. As you can see, they have been taking damage from the naval bombers. Lots of damage from the naval bombers. So, if you're feedback gaming and you want to take out the enemy capital ships, yeah, go for heavy attack. If that's your only goal, go for heavy attack. You'll do lots of things to the battleships, but in the end, if you focused all your industrial power on your battleships and you haven't taken care of your screens, you're going to lose. Now, this battle has been going on for, what, 3 days now? And the Japanese seem to be losing. Ah, yes, they've actually had the Izumo. That's a completely terrible ship. Yeah, they're being sunk. Now, I am curious as to why that is. This absolutely sucks, and I wouldn't be surprised. Let's actually take a look at that design. Oh, yikes. It's got double armor, so it does have quite a bit of HP, but it's extremely slow. Everything else that we have in the heavy cruiser department is 31 knots, so that's probably why it sunk. Now this cacao, I don't know about the cacao. But we keep going, and we're no longer, obviously, we're no longer even with the amount of destroyers that we are sinking and have been sunk. Always engage and never repair. Okay. Let's actually not keep it like that. Now we have sunk the Iwate coastal, yep, that's the other Izumo. So of course they're going to go down, but now we're starting to see the screening efficiency go down. Oh, we sunk another ship, the Mogami. That's a 1936 cruiser hull. And the Cacao has actually retreated. And we continue seeing the Japanese fleet sunk. Now, why is this? I legitimately don't know. Well, actually, so 39, 41, 19, compare 1925. So we're not as bad as originally thought. But the torpedoes are the things that are really winning the battles here. Not the heavy guns. Light guns, torpedoes. We are seeing that as the targets get sunk, that more heavy guns are being used. And we've actually got a heavy light gun, a light cruiser, here now. And most of the damage here was done by the torpedoes, and it's about half and half for heavy guns. As you can see, they're not. Are they shooting? Guys, why are you retreating? Okay then. The entire Japanese fleet is retreating. And as the battle continues to rev down, you'll start seeing more heavy battery gun hits because these don't have as many targets to shoot at. They were shooting at these guys, but now some of them have to divert their fire to the light ships. Excuse me. Seems like most of the fleet is getting out, but I would like to go back and redo this test. Wait, weather was supposed to be turned off. Okay, well, good thing I gave both of them that, Spirit of the Navy. Anyway, that's the Japanese fleet absolutely decimated. You can see that it's 32 so many more. Now, why is that? Well, if we let's save this. And if we go back, oh, whoops. Let's look at the fleets. So 142 ships compared to the Americans 150 ships. So the Americans do have more ships. It seems like the weather was affecting the battle, so I should have turned that off. And actually, let's turn the AI off here. But look at how many. So the Americans had more screens, more heavy ships. They had less carriers. But it wasn't really the heavy ships that won the battle. Yeah, sure, they started dealing hits as soon as they started running out of targets, because it's 30 to, what was it, 25? Now, if we take a look at the US and their designs, we can see that the Omaha doesn't have any torpedoes. There's this, which doesn't even have any armor. There's the Brooklyn, which is actually pretty good. The Brooklyn actually decimates you if you don't spec for armor. as Japan, and of course, if you don't have a larger fleet. But let's look at the destroyers. So the Farragut, we have this. Okay. Torpedo attack of 36. We have the Clemson, which is the same torpedo attack. And that's pretty much it. The Wichita, no torpedoes. New Orleans, no torpedoes. Portland, no torpedoes. Was there an update that I wasn't told about? What? This variant will display dynamic versions numbering beside its name. Okay. No torpedoes once again, and there will not be any torpedoes on the battleships, of course, but the battleships are more numerous. Colorado's, Pennsylvania's, and their light attack is still absolutely pitiful. It's their heavy attack that's really the thing in their favor right there. But if we go and look at the Japanese, we look at their designs, the destroyers, okay, there's like 3 of these. They don't have any torpedoes. The Fubuki class, they have more torpedoes, but we don't have as many of them. Let's see how many of the Fubukis we actually have. Because this is the first class that has more torpedo damage than the Americans. And we actually have quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So we have 26, and that has actually made us just about even with the Americans in terms of torpedo attack. Now, obviously, we, as Japanese, don't have as many light guns, and we definitely don't have as many heavy guns. So that, along with the fleet size, also contributes to our defeat there. Now, I am curious, how many Brooklyns does the USA have at this point in time? Do they have any? Omaha class light cruiser, Oglala. They don't. So this is purely down to the lackluster effect of the light cruisers on either side, and the, I guess, effect that the just the more ships each side can bring to bear has. We already turned the weather off, right? No. Weather. Tag. Jap. Now let's... I don't actually want them retreating this time, so let's never repair, automatic split off, enable reinforcement of the selected task forces. XP. Let's do just score critical. Okay, let's get them. Let's get both sides this. XP. Brave commanders. And let's modify the fleet. So, never repair, always engage. There we go. This way they will be compelled to stay in the battle. Both because of this and the other. Now, this does increase the stats of each side. I don't think you can probably go back in the video and see how much it actually increases it. It'll increase it by 15%. Now, we could go for surprise attacks instead, which would allow us to retreat, but we're not about that. We want one concise naval battle here. Now, okay. So let's tag Jap. Now let's save this. Test 2. And let's look at the battle now. Oh, whoops, too fast. So, we're immediately sinking more American destroyers than than the Japanese destroyers. We're up to 9 destroyers. And the destroyers that have been sunk on the Japanese side have been sunk by Osman Ingram. I was going to say battleships, but 2 of them have been sunk by battleships, and 1 of them has been sunk by the Osman Ingram, which doesn't seem to be either battleship or... Okay. That's odd. But as we can see over here, the USS John D. Edwards, torpedoes, Tatanel, torpedoes, Decatur, torpedoes, the Warden, torpedoes, Overton, torpedoes, Stansbury, torpedoes, Barry, torpedoes, Brume, torpedoes, they've all been sunk by torpedoes. So this has been a torpedo alpha strike here. And we'll see if the Japanese supremacy continues. Heavy guns, the Iwate coastal defense ship, yep, figured. Light guns, heavy guns, torpedoes, okay. The Kuri, sunk by torpedoes. The Fumizuki, sunk by torpedoes. Or at least most of the damage was done by torpedoes. USS Maryland, most of the damage was done by heavy guns. And the Maryland, or the Ashigiri was sunk by the USS Maryland, which is one of the battleships, I'm pretty sure, right? Was it one of... Ah! Maryland, right there. So it's sunk by the Maryland, but... and heavy guns. Then there's the Shinonome, which was also sunk by the Maryland, but the damage was done by light guns, and then most of the damage was torpedoes. The Unagi, most of the damage, heavy guns. And then it was sunk by the USS California, heavy guns, heavy guns. So, as we can see, the clear advantage that the US has in terms of battleships has impacted the light ships, because the two main damage types they're taking are the torpedoes and the heavy guns. Now, this may lend credence to Feedback Gaming's theory that heavy guns are key. However, I will point out that at least compared to a player-built fleet, the light gun attack is absolutely abysmal. It's terrible. Absolutely crap. Now, let's continue going. And we've come to a bit of a stalemate here. Sunk by Izumo, heavy guns, torpedoes, okay. Warden, Stansbury for Ataka. Heavy guns, torpedoes, torpedoes, torpedoes. Torpedoes, heavy guns, okay. Can we? No. We can't see the Kuri and what was sunk by. I don't know what the hell the Osman Ingram is. Probably one of these. The Osman Ingram seems to be getting some kills. I don't know who it is. It's definitely not the Saratoga or any of those. But torpedoes, heavy guns, torpedoes, heavy guns, heavy guns, heavy guns, heavy guns, torpedoes and light guns, heavy guns. And then heavy guns, of course, okay. Continuing on. Excuse me. Now, we are starting to see the comeback of the American fleet as their heavy guns come to bear against the light ships. And the torpedo attack seems to be evening out. Earlier, the torpedo attack was absolutely in the Japanese's favor. But as we can see, The torpedoes did a massive alpha strike at the very beginning there. And then it just kind of died off as the heavy guns just started sinking more and more of the Japanese fleet. Now, once again, this lends credence to Feedback Gaming's theory there. But I have to point out that the light gun attack on both sides is absolutely abysmal. And here we can see that the USS Hopkins sunk completely by light guns. Brume torpedoes. So it seems like we've reloaded our torpedoes as the Japanese. And we're starting to sink a hell of a lot more of their destroyers. And we may be doing a bit more damage to... yes, we're starting to do damage to the U.S. fleet. Now, the reason why we're doing a little bit better in this battle, I presume, is because their retreat chance is abysmal. The ships just basically are not allowed to retreat. And the Japanese fleet has caught up. They're starting to sink a hell of a lot more of the U.S. fleet. Simply because of that one change that we made. Now, torpedoes, heavy guns. So, because our light gun damage is absolutely abysmal, the U.S., most of the damage being done is being done by torpedoes and heavy guns. That's what's happening here. And the U.S. is doing a hell of a lot more damage with heavy guns because they have a hell of a lot more heavy guns, especially as they continue to sink more of the Japanese fleet. But the Japanese fleet do still have an advantage in torpedoes, although not much. I would love to know which destroyers are being sunk. And the U.S. fleet is making a very large comeback. However, we could start to see the downfall of them as their screening efficiency goes down. Now, I hope that I don't have to explain excuse me, what screening efficiency is. Oh, and the Japanese fleet has finally lost their advantage in torpedo damage. Their fleet is falling. Falling and failing. I still wish I could know... Okay, the Shimakaze is one of the Fubuki classes. So that's probably how we're still in the torpedo... Oh, never mind. No longer in the torpedo game anymore because they are being sunk like flies. Now, I wish I could see the entire list, but I can't, which sucks. Of course, all the damage being done to the heavy ships is being done by the heavy ships. And the torpedo screens don't seem to be getting through The torpedoes don't seem to be getting through the screens. Well, they are. They are. I correct myself. We do see some torpedo damage, but it's not enough. Oh, the Chicago sunk. Was the Chicago Yamashiro? Oh. Fuso was sunk by the USS New Mexico. Okay. And once again, more of a stalemate, as neither side can really do as much damage. Now, we're doing less and less damage here simply because we're retreating. As you retreat, you do less and less damage. It become you're not able to bring all of your guns to bear on your targets. Now, this is absolutely a loss by the Japanese fleet. I mean, look at this. They're completely decimated. Let's take a look. The heavy guns are coming in clutch for the Americans still. And let's speed this up. And let's see what we can do about, actually seeing the end of this battle. All the screens have been sunk. And we are down to the battleships and the carriers, which just cannot do the damage needed. So with that, let's test to results. Let's go back to the original test save. Load, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're back. Now, I have done some instant construction, so the U.S. fleet is a little bit bigger. Their production queue of ships is completely empty. And it's the same thing for the Japanese. I have done the exact same thing here. Brave commanders. They are also on repair, always engage. They are patrolling inside the Eastern Micronesia. Now, if we go to the Japanese, tag Jap. The same thing happened here. I gave them some extra dockyards because I did a whole bunch of refits, but I'll show you those refits later. They have the exact same thing, Brave Commanders, and the fleet is a little bit bigger, but still underneath the U.S. Fleet cap. These have obviously been refitted greatly. I have not given them any extra planes. Alright, I'll be right back once the the battle starts. I'll take care of the planes, and then there's obviously the waiting. Okay, we are in the battle now. This is the battle. So let's take a look at what this new refitted fleet can do to the U.S. fleet. The U.S. has more of these now. Still don't have any commanders, so those aren't doing anything. But the light guns are now doing some work. Obviously, we have a shit ton more light guns. More than double their light gun attack. We have more heavy gun attack now, and we have a shit ton more torpedo attack. So, if we look at this, we are doing quite a bit of light gun damage to these things. And that's pretty much the only damage that we've been doing so far. And there we go. Our first sunk light gun damage. The torpedoes are no longer the ones that are getting the first kills. Oh. We've got torpedoes, light guns, okay. We got a couple of torpedo kills, mostly by light guns though. We've got 4 to, okay, and that's just increasing. We have been sunk by the torpedo hits, while we continue to sink their ships with light guns. Let's see. Light gun, torpedoes, light gun, heavy guns, light guns, light guns, light guns, torpedoes, torpedoes, torpedoes. So we seem to be, as the battle goes on, evening out the kills in terms of torpedoes. Let's see, so light gun damage, light gun damage, light gun damage, light gun damage, heavy guns damage. These guys look damaged. Going down, light gun damage, heavy gun damage, light gun damage, light gun damage, light gun damage. Light gun damage, 0 light gun damage, interesting. Another 0 light gun damage, light guns, and light guns. So we are sinking them with mostly light gun damage, with torpedoes coming in a very close second. What about this guy? Or these guys? These guys? Yep, more light gun damage is being done to them. And we are obviously absolutely annihilating their entire fleet using light guns. And I swear, I wish I could see the entire list, like scroll, so I could, but Hoi4 doesn't care about the Navy as much as they do everything else, which is unfortunate because the Navy was a very integral part of the war. Torpedoes! The USS Cincinnati. Nice! And then light guns. We sunk the USS Cincinnati. Continue to sink their fleet. The Issei's are actually getting some kills, which is interesting. Now, we have how many battleships? We have 16 heavy cruisers, which is That's what, 4 more than we had before. They have 13 heavy cruisers. They haven't lost any, have they? Oh no, not 13, 15, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was 15 before. Now it's 33. And we have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 28. So we still have less battleships than them. Or heavy ships, I should say. Now, let's see. Light guns, light and heavy guns. Light guns. Nice. So, the U.S. fleet was not upgraded at all. They were only allowed to finish off their construction queue that they had at the beginning of the game. This is not meant to be a fair fight. This is just to show what a player-led fleet, a refitted fleet, can do. So we are losing screening efficiency because we have a larger fleet than them, and our positioning is shit, okay? We sunk the Chicago heavy guns. "100% light guns, Oglagla. Torpedoes, okay. And we continue to decimate them. They're basically out of screens now. Many of them have no choice but to retreat. Our light gun damage is just so monstratively outmatching them. Heavy guns, torpedoes. Light guns, torpedoes, and light guns. Okay. Another one. Which one was it? Detroit? And we just keep racking up those kills. Now, once we get rid of the screens, obviously the heavy gun damage and the torpedoes are going to be a lot more influential. As you can see, we are doing a lot of heavy gun damage. Our naval bombers aren't actually doing that much damage. Interesting, because we have a lot more than them. The weather is turned off. Which is quite interesting. We do have... Oh, we sunk our first battleship. Light guns got some work into the Nevada. And some heavy guns plus some torpedoes. Mostly torpedoes. The Arkansas. Almost pronounced it Arkansas. Why did they... U.S. sometimes is... Yeah, well, Alba, Yamashiro, Takao, heavy guns, torpedoes, naval bombers, light guns. Nice. Most of the damage has been done by heavy guns on the Arkansas, sorry. And then torpedoes seem to be winning out for the heavy ships. Let's see, another one down, the Maryland. Oh, and the Pennsylvania. Heavy guns for the Pennsylvania, the Maryland. Heavy guns, okay. We've updated it, so torpedoes are coming in second now. And you, heavy guns, torpedoes. Wow. And how much heavy guns, naval bombers, okay. Fuji, Hagi, Suga, Mire, Matsukaze, Harukaze, Nokaze, Yuzukaze, Kikuzuki, Fumizuki. Torpedoes, heavy guns, torpedoes, 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 heavy guns, light guns, heavy guns, heavy guns. Yeah. They're sinking our ships because they have no... Wow, okay. I think the reason why so many ships are being sunk by heavy guns now is because their battleships basically have no choice. They're being forced to fire upon our screens. Iwate and Izumo, of course. They're the first ones to die. But they haven't died yet, they're just retreating. Now, the carriers. Okay, there we go. Their entire fleet sunk. Now, we had more stats overall than them, but what mattered there at the very beginning, at the end, light attack didn't matter, like, at all. It was the torpedoes and the heavy attack. In the beginning, though, what really mattered was the light attack and the torpedoes, mostly the light attack, as you saw there. Now, what have we done to the Japanese fleet to get it that way? Well, I knew that this would win, so I didn't really expect them to be full light attack ships, so all of our tier 1 ships, cruisers, these guys, I don't know how many, 16 of these guys are the Chikama class. Another design was this Sendai class, which was designed around light attack. And these designs, by the way, are designs that I believe you could reasonably achieve with Japan by 1941. So if you went down new naval estimates, supremacy of the battle fleet, ultimate battleship, you could get the fire control system 1 so that you didn't have to... I have researched all the way to 1940 tech, but this way you don't have to research this fire control system, or the... which one is it? Not this one, this one. You don't have to research this anti-air either. Other than that, you can simply focus on getting the radar and you'll be good. You get these at the beginning of the game, these anti-aircraft guns at the beginning of the game. Of course, I researched to 1940, so I have the 3. This gives it a crap ton of light attack. Now, the escort fleet is upgraded to level 6. That's what the design has. It hasn't been upgraded beyond level 6. Here you see I could have sub detection, depth charges, minesweeping, all of that with these. But I have not done that. It's just level 6 up to the welding specialist for the production cost. And the heavy cruisers have the same designer, but I did a little bit more historical designs, or at least I tried. The Furitaka, from my understanding, the Furitaka had some pretty good armor, all of this. They have more heavy attack than they do light attack. Their light attack isn't that good, but heavy attack is useful. We've seen that before with the American battle fleet before all of these refits. Heavy attack does work. So we have the Alba, which basically just has better guns. The Miyokos. I didn't really know how to distinguish the Miyokos from the Magamis, so I kind of just gave the Magamis better armor. They were 2 entirely separate classes of ships. I don't actually know what the specifications were, or like what the major differences were. I know that the Mogamis ended up were originally light cruisers, and then once the war kicked off, they okay, so what they did was very sly. They designed 2 turrets, a light turret with 6-inch guns, but they were and then a heavy turret with 8-inch guns, but they were both the same size, the same barbette, same everything, except for the guns, which meant that they were interchangeable. And that's how the Japanese got around the Washington Naval Treaty. Every time you do this in Hoi4, it's cheaper just to abandon it. But I don't think that the Japanese really did anything until they just kind of cheated, just like the Germans, with stuff like this, the Mogami class. Up until a certain point when the war started, and they just said, you know what? The Washington Naval Treaty is not working. So we're just going to start converting all of these things. Anyway, the Izumo, I updated even the Izumo, and I gave them some torpedoes. There was really no reason. I mean, they're basically there for more light attack. That's all they are. Now, all of them do have this for the plus 20% light attack. And then, moving on, there's this Congo class, which has the Kur Naval Arsenal. Now, I went for the armor here, and then I did all of this. I could have gotten more light battery heat chance if I hadn't gone for the piercing. But I designed this around the idea that you would use it in an actual scenario. So the heavy piercing and the light piercing, meh. Heavy piercing though, abso-freaking-lutely. Because the heavy piercing on these guns allows you to pierce tier 1 armor, I believe. Yes, it does. So unless anyone else has the anything over here, which I still have not done, they will not be able to get pierced, therefore you have more critical hit chance. Anyway, on to the... wait. Back to these guys. So, obviously, the same basic stuff. Didn't want to put a third turret on there, so I just put anti-air there. The light attack 13, it's meh, it's good, it's whatever. And everything else is fine. Then we go on to the Fusos. Now, obviously, by this time, you would have the ultimate battleship, which means that you would have constructed the Yamato and the Musashi. So you would have to have their designs up here as well. But that hasn't happened here because I wanted to keep it somewhat the same. I wanted to keep it basically the same fleet, save for a few exceptions in the construction queue, which the US would also be able to do. So I didn't construct those. Now, the Nagato is basically the same thing, just with the level 2 batteries. And this is kind of where it gets interesting because the Issei and the Fusos, I added a turret. Now, this is because they had an extraordinary amount of turrets in real life. And I distinguished them with armor once again. Those are the designs, obviously, with the carriers. The deck size, plus that's the max range, yep. Which combined with these gives them an amazing deck size. Radar for extra surface detection, as well as the anti-air and hit chance, so that they can defend themselves against air attack. There's really no reason for any sort of armor, because if you've built your fleet right, you're not going to need armor on your carriers. They're basically going to get stricken by 1 or 2 torpedo bombers, and that's basically it. They're not really going to take any damage. They're not really going to sink. The Kagas, I did give armor because that's what they had. The Zuihos already had armor, and I didn't actually give them any radar. That was a mistake. Obviously, lots of deck size. And the curious thing about this was that despite me giving them a shit ton of naval bombers, they didn't actually do that much damage in the battle. At least I don't think so. I could try and see, but this is just going to give me the kill feed. Which is not exactly what I want. And finally, the Fubuki's here. essentially, they're just massive torpedo boats. And they did their job really well. If I do say so myself. All of our destroyers were converted to this design. So every single one of those destroyers that you saw was a Fubuki class that was, you know, converted to this design. They had this for some extra fire support, as well as this, some extra anti-air. But mostly, it was the torpedoes that won us the day here. Now, these fairly cheap destroyers, for what they are, I mean, they're expensive, but comparatively, if you were to compare the same design to a level 3 hull or even a level 2 hull, you'd be in like 2000s range. Now, what I recommend, well, I recommend one of 3 designs. This design, the 3 torpedoes, or a design something like this, that's more moderated, built around some heavy attack, heavy light attack, meaning heavy, large amount of light attack, and fire control, and then the radar. Whoops, accidentally did that. So, and then the escort fleet for more light attack. I recommend the Fubuki design here. This is basically the only design that you're going to be able to do in terms of the destroyers, level 1 destroyers. Now that's good because you can just have this design and be done with it, and then the rest you can just have be this design, or alternatively, if you need a escort fleet, you can do this instead and continue to have the same amount of torpedoes so that it can be used in the fleet. Because let's be honest, the torpedo attack is the thing that's going to be more deadly. The light attack is an extra bonus on top of everything else that you have in your fleet. So this is also a valid design. And then if you get to your level 3s, then you can do the torpedoes, and you can basically have this torpedo boat, and then it's the same idea. You either do a somewhat gunboat, or you either do a somewhat escort boat. And I actually forgot to do something on the escort boat. So let's do this sonar. There we go. Escort boat. That's the escort boat. You don't have a secondary turret, so there's really no point in going for the fire control system, even though it would give you some extra hit chance. Your light attack, no matter what, is going to be just so low that it really is not going to matter. So, of course, as I was saying, same basic design as the other ones. And you can have 2 of them in your production line, basically for the rest of the game, as long as you've converted these guys. Absolute god tier level 1 design, and as you can see, it's actually cheaper than is it? Yeah, it's cheaper than every single other design that I made here. As you can see, this is 180 or 1483, 1483, and this is 1423. This is the cheapest option here. Everything else is so much more expensive. But these should be great for conversion, basically the workhorse of your fleet until you can get some little bit better destroyers. If you're building up a fleet, I would recommend these. Because if you're building up a fleet, then I'm assuming that you don't have many of these in the first place. So build these for fleet actions, and actually for more flexibility, build these. Because the light attack, unless you're going for an extreme gunboat destroyer, which would be something like this, which I don't think has a... Oh, it actually does have a decent amount of light attack, which is good. I thought that it wouldn't, but it does. It has a decent amount of light attack. It's not good. I would consider that good would be somewhere in the 15 to 20 range. Great would be obviously 20 to 30 and above. But this is actually a fairly good destroyer if you're having trouble with light attack. But, and actually, hold on. Oh, whoops. I accidentally got rid of one of the designs there. That's fine. I want to see... This is cheaper. Okay, so there is a strategy here. You can actually outfit your fleet if you're... So, okay, this only has 7... It's good. It's not great, but it's good. This has 17 light attack. This design is not actually that far off. But now that I think about it, it is a level 3 design with level 3 guns. And if you wanted more flexibility out of it, you would have to sacrifice some light attack, I believe. Oh no, I'm not sacrificing any light attack. You sacrifice piercing, which is fine. You don't really need the piercing. Your piercing is shit no matter what. So this design, if you somehow manage, perhaps you've, I don't know. I don't know how you would somehow manage to do this. The only nations that would really need to do this and build up a fleet really quickly with this design would be the Hungarians, if they make the if they manage to make the Austro-Hungarian Empire before World War II, they might be able to do that. Cruisers, light cruisers, destroyer models, submarine models, carrier models, trade interdiction, fleet in being. Okay, so they have this research bonus, which they can use if they... Let's tag over to them. Tag Hungary. Oh, whoops. Tag Hun. There we go. So, obviously it's locked. They don't have any coastal states. But if they were to get, say, if they were to get this, and then Dalmatia. I believe they get cores all through. I don't believe they actually get cores on Montenegro. No, they get cores here, 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 and here. I don't know if they get cores here. That's gonna be something that I'll have to be corrected on. I've done Hungary so many times, but I don't remember their borders because obviously you always just annex Yugoslavia. But if you also somehow manage to get the territory in Italy, which is this, and they don't actually have. Okay. Wait, Party, Slovenia. I think that they get cores here and here. Istria and Littoral. I think that the Austro-Hungarian Empire gets cores there. I'm not entirely sure. But it's not a very big coastline. You're not really going to be doing very much with Navy. Unfortunately. Now let's look at the Romanians. We're here on Hungary, and I wanted to check something. Okay, so you would have to, in order to do that destroyer design, you would have to go to the 1922, and then the 1936, and then get that after you've conquered this, and then you still have to go through the focuses to get down to that point. So, it's obviously not. It's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate that Navy is just so neglected here. Obviously you have to have somewhat historical build times, but still, I mean, it's just unfair at one point or another, you know? Modify coastal defense ship, cruiser, heavy attack, light hull, torpedo. Oh god. Cruiser armor, light attack, production cost. Oh. Okay, so this is amazing. This, not so much. That gets rid of your light attack, which you need. That's something that is an absolute must. So you're left with the choice of getting destroyer models, and let's tag over to them. Rom. All they have to research is this, and of course, it's very open, so you can just go down this immediately, which is very good for Romania. I appreciate that. And doing this, or this, depending on which one you prefer. And then going down there will obviously give you enough time to research the destroyer hull, if that's what you want to do. And I may actually decide to do a Naval Romania run at some point. That looks like it'd be fun to try. If I can. Aside from that, what does Yugoslavia have? Do they have any good naval focuses? So they get a choice between this and this. Has full control of Dalmatia, shipyards in Dalmatia. Expand the Serbian shipyards. Expand the split shipyard. Okay. So, coastal defense. Dalmatia, Montenegro, okay. Submarine models, naval bomber models, destroyer models. Okay, so they do get destroyer models, and they can get destroyer models down either route, but I think that this route will be better. Light cruiser models, heavy cruiser models. Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. They can do it immediately, which is very nice, and it only takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 focuses. They get 2 cruisers, so they can research this and this, get the cruisers and the destroyer probably pretty quickly, which is interesting. This is another matter entirely, though. Wait. When can you... 1936, and then... Okay, so that'd be 4 years ahead of... Or 2.8 years ahead of time. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Alright. And what about Greece? Attica, okay. Oh, right, they get the option to rebuild their ships. I believe that's over here, though. British docking rights were renegotiate our debt with France. Investment schemes. Perhaps it's not over here. Destroyer models, okay, you get that fairly early, which is good. Aligning ourselves with politically with Britain or with Germany will allow us to rebuild some of our old heavy ships. Okay, so that's a more interesting one, which unfortunately takes you away from the good research bonuses for the light ships. I hate that because you have to have both. Why choose between one or the other? You have to have both in order to have a good navy. Just a good navy. What about Poland? I haven't looked at Poland's navy because it's pretty much, you know, you don't. Light cruiser models, submarine destroyer models. Okay, that's really far down the tree. You would want to clamp down on... Wait, which one gives you more dockyards? 4 naval dockyards. How many dockyards does Danzig have to start off with? Come on. I want to see. Tag poll. 3. Okay. And then you go over here and you clamp down on it. You ban the Nazis. Then you get 5. Not even 6. And that's it. So, 4 destroyer models. That's great. They have 3. How many does Gdynia have? 0. Okay. So, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So you get more dockyards by, okay, developing Polish shipbuilding, which is crazy. Submarine, we don't really care about submarines. All of the resume naval okay, so you can't, you have access to all of them. Okay. Cool. Modest modularization, modernization, submarine models. Okay, and then Poland has what research? Okay, they can get the 1936 hull, and then at some point down the line, they'd be able to, well, actually, they want to research this first, get the 1936 hull, wait. Or would they want to use the research bonuses from this to upgrade their passive sonar and active sonar? Ooh, you actually have some decisions with Poland there. I like it. And then light cruiser. Okay, research bonuses for light cruisers. You don't really need research bonuses. You can basically get this and be done with it. Like, you don't really need the engine from this or anything. You just get this and you're pretty much done. Submarine models, destroyer models, naval doctrine. No bonuses for battleships. Okay. Interesting. You don't have that terrible choice. You basically have no choice there. It's choice between submarines or two other types of ships. Either way, pretty good, I'd say, for Poland. I believe Czech has some naval focuses in case it gets down to the sea. That's a really good one. Light hull, cruiser production cost, okay. Light cruiser models, heavy cruiser models, battleship models, destroyer models, trade interdiction, fleet and being doctrine. Okay, I really like that, unfortunately. They're landlocked. Bulgaria, I'm hesitant to look at them because their tree always scares me. Navy looks like it's over here. Convoy, refitting. Oh, refitting is really good, but they don't have a fleet to refit. Battleship modules, marine technology transport modules. Okay, so that's basically, are you using it for naval invasions, or are you actually trying to build a fleet? Okay, yeah, this looks like it's a joke. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like it's a freaking joke. Destroyer models plus 250% bonuses. That's good. Adds technology coastal defense ship. Invite design bureau to Bulgaria. Euro. Okay. Interesting. You invite foreign Mayos. Okay. Playing a naval Bulgaria might be interesting, but the only real thing that you'd be doing with that sort of fleet is doing shore bombardment, because you wouldn't be able to take on a real power with that sort of navy. What about the Turks? Tag Tur? Yeah, of course it's Tur. Tur. One naval dockyard, naval base, infrastructure. Inversa. Streamline communication methods between ships. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 naval dockyards. Okay. And to get that, you require this and this. Okay. Which are 35 days, 35 days. Okay, that's cool. So 70 days, 70 days, 70 days, and 70 days. And then this, light cruiser modules, battleship modules. So it's only modules. Submarine modules, trade interdiction doctrines. Okay, so you'd want this one. Ooh, radar tech. Cool. Requires all the following though, so you'd have to upgrade everything else. Ooh. Okay, so the Turks, basically they have the strongest navy in the Mediterranean, I suppose, and they don't really care about naval expansion. Not as much as everyone else, I suppose. What about the Netherlands? Light cruiser models and heavy cruiser models. Okay, cool. That's not really a choice. That's a... I want this. The battlecrew add technology 1936 heavy ship hull. Anti-air, improved fire control system, improved dual-purpose battery. Create design 1047 battlecruiser. Capital ship. If the German Reich must approve... okay, so this is... This is the Scharnhorsts. Okay. And you don't get something in your queue that's already somewhat finished. You just get the design and you have to start building it. Okay. Carrier models, destroyer models. Carrier bonuses don't really seem that viable. Because you can get a really good carrier with just the starting design, the deck conversions. And those are expensive, so you won't want to go for those. You can go for those, and those are really good. They give you 80 planes with a good design, so that's curious to me. Okay. Some pretty good naval focuses, not great. I'm sorry, this has turned into... Oh. They do have more naval focuses later on. Cool. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm sorry, this has turned into a scouting thing for nations to play in the future. I really love Navy. It's so... it's really, really too bad that they neglect the Navy in this game so much. Because there are so many things that you could be doing with this, like... I mean, even EU4 has something where you can attach... Like, this would be amazing for the small nations, like, not Norway, Netherlands, yes, I guess Norway, Denmark, Poland, for them to just say, okay, attach fleet to British fleet. Like in EU4, they have that option. Not in Hoi4. That would be an amazing option, just to attach your small fleet and reinforce the other fleets. That'd be an amazing option, but unfortunately it doesn't exist. Yeah, anyway, this design may be viable if you're trying to make a really quick navy that can absolutely decimate the enemy's screening. However, I do want to offer another piece of advice, because if the enemy, and I know the US likes to do this, like I said earlier, let's tag over to them. Tag USA. The US already has a really good design for countering light attack, and that's the Brooklyn class. And they do build a whole lot of these. I tried to make another video before this one that I tried to prove that if I took my Japanese fleet down a little bit, that I'd still be able to beat the US, and then I was very surprised when I wasn't. It was because of these things. So these things, they don't have their decent light attack, good light attack, but their armor is absolutely insane. And what the armor basically does is, well, it protects them from damage, but it also protects their organization. And if those ships can out-org your ships, then you're kind of screwed, which is why you need, which is where heavy attack would come in. That's where you would want a bunch of heavy attack, and that's also where you would want a bunch of, torpedo attack. So you wouldn't actually want, let me tag back over, Jap. Against the US, at the very least, you wouldn't actually want something like this. In fact, you wouldn't want something like this against any nation that actually put armor on their cruisers. Because it just wouldn't be effective. It automatically gets countered. Let's look at the UK. ENG. What kind of ships do they have? Town, okay. These are the light cruisers. Leander, yep, armor. Adventure, no armor. Emerald, armor. Danae, armor. C-class, armor. Okay, so yeah. Heavy attack isn't going, or light attack isn't going to be as heavy on them, which means that you need to rely more on torpedoes, in which case tag Jap. Just build these Fubukis right here. They're gonna be amazing for you. I mean, there's really no point in doing otherwise, I don't think. Yeah, because against every other major nation, this design would just suck heavily, unfortunately. Simply because they have armor and you don't. You might be able to increase that by doing this. How much does that increase? Not much, right? 20 set. Yeah, there's really no point. Unless maybe you can't do it. Okay. I was going to suggest using the Cure Naval Arsenal for the high velocity guns, but you can't use it on these things. Is there a... light battery hit chance, weather penalty, production cost. Yeah, there's... You'd want to get this, obviously, for the hit chance, but... yeah, there's really no point in this design, unfortunately. Very, very unfortunate. But, yeah. Maybe you can get a mod where it makes these slots equal for all of them? I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. Armor counters light attack. Torpedoes counter everything. I would say that all of the different attacks have their strengths, have their weaknesses. The torpedoes have an extremely long cooldown. Light attack is easily countered by armor. And you're just not going to be able to get as much heavy attack into the match because you're not going to be able to build as many a whole lot of heavy ships. So there's that. And I would say that they're all pretty evenly matched. Although heavy attack or light attack is really, really, really nice when you stack it against ships that don't counter it. But yeah, these designs, pretty good designs. This is pretty much gonna be the workhorse of your fleet. You're gonna want at the light attack. Maybe you don't want the light attack at all. Maybe you just want to make another version of the Fubukis, like Akatsuki or something, which is fine. But this design is something that you will most likely need, especially as an island nation like Japan or the UK, because America, it's got its resources at home. Yes, it can trade with other people, and yes, it is isolated, but it's got all of its resources at home. It's not going to need to trade that much with anyone else. It's completely fine. UK is in danger, though. Japan is in danger, though. So yeah, as those two nations, you will absolutely need an escort fleet. With these, maybe even also a specialized design for your cruisers. But that's pretty much it. Um, yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope that looking at those tool tips and stuff during the battle and I guess after the battle helps. Um, I hope that the knowledge of armor helps as well. Um, Beware of America with those Brooklyn classes. Other than that, I suppose have a nice day, and I'll see you later. I'm sorry, I did actually want to go over one other thing. The chief of navy and your military high command, decisive battle expert, um, absolutely. Um, um, Capital ship specialist, expert, or genius. Absolutely. And as Japan, you would actually want to use uh, Toyota, to upgrade him so that he would become a capital ship expert instead of a specialist. Let's give me some PP. CP. Capital ships. And then afterwards, you're gonna be as it depends on who you're fighting, uh, who you are and who you're fighting. If you're Japan, then you can go down naval air defense because you're gonna be fighting against the Allies, and you may want the extra naval AA attack. The sortie efficiency is really nice. Ace generation chance. You would probably want to pick that over the sortie efficiency. Simply because aces are absolute. Well, they're aces. They're awesome. And then you would, of course, want to upgrade your naval bombers regularly as soon as you get new techs and stuff. And all of that. Commanders. Like I said, you would want people like Tsuyomo Yamamoto, or Tsuyomo Toyota, sorry, with capital ship armor. And unfortunately, he doesn't have air controller or anything of the sort. Fleet protectors are really good. Air controllers are really good. Blockade runners are not really that good. Fleet protector is absolutely the best out of these three things. Because it's just, I mean, it gives you extra screening efficiency. That's all you really need. It allows you to have a smaller fleet needed. That's all it does. Superior tactician comes in close second. Obviously, you want anything that helps your destroyers. Spotting speed is pretty good. Mines are meh. I mean, if you're playing a nation like that has very low prospects, like I don't know. I guess what would be a nation that has very low Turkey. They had horrible naval focuses, so perhaps you'd want to consider using mine warfare with Turkey. Really any nation that doesn't have any good naval focuses or a navy in the first place, but I prefer to be optimistic about those things. Flight deck manager, obviously, and then you have the choice between fighter director, dive bomber, torpedo bomber. Torpedo bomber is the best there. Cruiser captain, destroyer leader, obvious choices. Not necessarily hunter killer. Fly swatter is a great one though, especially if you're facing up against the Allies with their enormous amount of planes. I guess get these if you can. No real rush to get any of those. Another trait that you might want to look for is this naval lineage. Retreat decision chance minus 25%. This basically keeps your ships in the fight, because once they start retreating, they lose their firepower, and retreating can be very, very slow, which means that they're not dealing as much damage as they should, which is why you put your fleets on always engage, never repair. Never repair so that they don't try and go out with the incentive of trying to get repaired. Always engage because you always want them to engage. Obviously, Brave Commanders helps with that as well, and it gives you extra chance to score critical hits. You might be able to... okay, so this build with the retreat decision chance, I'll explain this a little bit better. That build... you really have to pay attention to your ships. You really have to pay attention to your ships, because you would have to manually retreat them if they're in a battle that they absolutely cannot win. For the major nations, that's not really a problem. But for nations in the Balkans or the Baltic or the Benelux, or any of the small nations, maybe even Russia, it's a problem. It's a major problem, because you could lose your entire fleet. You may put your fleet on convoy raiding or something. I don't know why you would do that, but just to hunt convoys down and be able to, hunt down their escorts and stuff like that. You would... I don't know why you would put it on retreat decision chance in that case, but you would really have to pay attention to your fleet, because if your fleet runs into an enemy fleet, then you will have to manually disengage your fleet. And then you would have to manually set them to repair. Now, obviously, this gives you a chance to score a critical hit, and then over here, I believe he gives you some bonuses. Number of ships in first contact. I don't really know what that does. He's a fly swatter, battleship adherent, capital ship attack. That's pretty good. So if you have someone with naval lineage, you can consider doing that. Although, counterpoint, it may also be a better decision if you have a smaller navy. With a larger navy, absolutely do this. Also, pay attention to your fleets, because there may be the rare chance where two of the enemy fleets come into contact with your one fleet, and while your one fleet may be good to combat a single fleet of theirs, it may not be good when it comes to defeating two fleets of theirs, because they usually stack their fleets like 40 to 50, and if you're doing it right, you should have something like 4 carriers, excuse me, 4 battleships, obviously excluding battle cruisers. I usually do 8, but you don't have to do 8 heavy cruisers. So let me just get rid of those. And where the Ismos. I usually just get rid of... If I'm a major nation, I usually just get rid of the coastal defense ships. I don't care about them. If I'm playing like Greece, then I'll use them because I need to work with what I have, but otherwise, no. These guys, how many do I... 16 of those, and then the Sendais, I usually work with 16 light cruisers, and then I'll have, let's see, fleet composition. So you need to have at least 3. You generally want 4 though per capital ship, and I'm talking about screens there. So there's the 8 plus 8, 16 times 4, 64. 64 minus the 16 light cruisers, 48. So your fleet should look something like this. No, it's still not enough. What was it? 40... 64 minus 16, 48. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Fleet of 80. Now, you could just scrap the heavy cruisers entirely. I don't... Heavy cruisers have their role. They provide extra soft attack, extra hard attack, extra light attack and extra heavy attack to the fleet, which is massively beneficial. But yes, this is the fleet composition that I usually go for, and then of course you would want escort fleets surrounding those. Also, it's a great idea to try and micromanage your fleet a little bit. Tsuyomo Toyota, he's excellent in terms of capital ships, but you may want him as a screener for your escorts as Japan, because you want fleet protector. You would have to just use him in a fleet regularly to get air controller. There's really no other way. Has carrier air wings on a mission. Carrier has air wings in combat. It is a part of on a mission. Oh, so maybe you could upgrade him with the carrier air wings on a mission. So maybe you can upgrade him by using carrier airwing missions in the Yellow Sea along the Chinese coast as you invade China. Maybe that'd be a good way to upgrade him. That seems like it'd be a great way to upgrade him. Um, but yes, you can micromanage your admirals so that they can get the traits that are best suited for you and your own fleet. Admirals do change the game quite a bit. Anyway, now I'm done. 14 minutes later, basically 3 hours in, I think, right? Oh, I do want to go over one other thing. Aggression is great. Maneuvering and coordination, though, can also be great. So choose between the ones that you want. Coordination is this fleet coordination, and then this is positioning and stuff. This positioning is actually a really great one. And there is also a reason why Superior Tactician comes in as close second to Fleet Protector, because you get that positioning bonus. And how do you get that? Having the advantage in combat. Okay, whatever. Alternatively, you might want to try and roll a fleet commander that has aviation enthusiast, or do this so that you don't have... This would be more of a multiplayer thing, like before the war or even during it, you could do this. And you'd have less naval intelligence to give to others. This I don't know about. You don't get any personality traits. You do get reduced cost though, so I guess it can be a meta. Aside from that, you might want close combat for the extra screen penetration. Obviously, as Japan, you would want the long lance torpedoes for the massive screen penetration. And as any other nation, you would obviously want to pick up any bonuses on your way. That's basically all I have. I know some theorists give you bonuses to your navy. I know Germany Tagger has what was his name? Heinz Guderian, right? Yes, Heinz Guderian, that gives you plus 10% max speed. I don't know of any other general or theorist that gives you that. There may be one. I don't know. I haven't seen any other that does that. I don't think there is. There may be one though. Don't really know. Just look around. Any bonus that you can give to your navy is absolutely welcome. Tag Jap. You can upgrade some of your commanders to be that way. Oh, what I wanted to talk about. So, armor on your capital ships. You can get by in the base game fighting against the AI with this Battleship Armor 1, and if you're using battle cruisers, battle cruiser armor 2. They Battleship Armor 1 does not reduce your max speed. Battle Cruiser Armor 3 does. But that's the price to pay. Most ships don't have the level 2 guns, which means their piercing is lower. But if I look at these guys now in the fleet, you can see that their armor is above the heavy piercing that they themselves can produce. And they only have the Battleship Armor 1. So, as long as you have good armor bonuses like Sayumo, Yamamoto, Toyota, plus 10, plus 10, he gives Sayumo, Toyota gives another plus 15. And then, of course, in the doctrines down here, you have this capital ship armor plus 10%. And this is there for all of your fleet doctrines. So you can get it no matter what. And that XP, that will allow you to have a substantial amount of armor compared to what the design actually says. As you can see, the armor is 50 now compared to 41. So armor, an absolute must for all of your capital ships. If you can get lots of piercing for your capital ships, absolutely go for it. This does, however, mean that in terms of the design here, that battle cruisers are kind of obsolete, I would say, because you can get the same results, and in fact better results, with the come on, where are they? There they are. Yeah, these are not very good designs because they don't have the armor 3, the battlecruiser armor here. Their max speed is reduced by 10%. Battleship armor doesn't. Battleship armor 1 doesn't, sorry. Obviously, in multiplayer, you would want to, react to whatever you think the enemy actually has. Spy agencies multiplayer, absolute musts, in my opinion, at the very least. But yeah, that's really all I have, I believe, unless I somehow come up with something else to mention in Navy. There's really a crap ton of ways. It's different for every single nation. A crap ton of ways that you can enhance your fleet. Stat-wise and even production-wise. The US and the UK both have amazing production bonuses to cruisers. As you saw earlier with I think, Romania and a couple of other nations. Those nations have pretty good bonuses to light ships and cruisers. Production bonuses. It's It's really everywhere with these things, especially when it comes to the Mayos. The Mayos can be very, very different. Just remember what I've told you here. Stacking armor is amazing for battleships. You always want to stack light attack. You always want to stack as much torpedo attack as you can. Battleships, I've done somewhat historical designs here, but you don't actually want, you want at like 2 turrets. Maybe 1 turret. I would do 2 turrets at the very least, but some people say that 1 turret here with just the 1 heavy battery is fine because you need to build so many or whatever. It's ridiculous. But that's basically it. That's it. Yeah. I'll be done with this Navy thing. I could go on for forever about Navy. I love Navy. I wish that I could play every game as a naval game. Unfortunately, that just doesn't happen. You just can't do it. Yeah. Have a nice day. I'll see you in the next video, which is probably, of course, gonna be a Minecraft video. I recorded a lot. I basically binged Minecraft, so I have enough for a few months. Which, frees me up to do lots of Hoi4 videos without, without having to worry about editing Minecraft videos. It allows me to produce something in the background consistently while I make my main thing, which is Hoi4. With those Minecraft videos, I really don't know where I'm going with it. I'm just gonna build the ship, have some fun with create. That's really all there is to it. I may try and get on with my friends at some point. I'm looking into creating a server so that we can all play. But and obviously I could buy, but I'm a cheapskate. I'd rather... It's like with nuclear. Everyone's so worried about the upfront cost, and everyone's so worried about the nuclear disasters that have happened, when only like 3, maybe 4 nuclear disasters have happened in history out of the thousands of nuclear reactors that have been built. It's really just the fear factor surrounding nuclear reactors. But where was I going with that? Yes, I'd rather have the upfront cost rather than paying a monthly fee to some company to keep a server running. No matter how cheap it is. Because I want to use that server for multiple things, like Minecraft, not Hoi4, because Hoi4 doesn't require a server, but lots of other games, you know. Anyway, that's all I have. Have a nice day. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.